It's December. The mood is high, the phones are buzzing, and everyone is spreading the cheer. But wait, not every message is merry. Scammers are also celebrating, waiting for you to click before you think. So, before you click, send, or share, stop and verify. Real companies don't ask for your password or money online. Stay safe this festive season. Think before you click and keep your holidays scam free. Bokra, protecting you online and on air.
Are officially plugged into the Overview Podcast.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
From the capital, this station is now the ultimate power in the universe. Overview Radio, Renew Overview Podcast with me and the whole of the crew today. Crew, are you there today? Can I hear you guys? You know, yeah, man. Overview Podcast is the name of the show. But before we carry on, guys, help us move this vehicle by hitting the subscribe button, guys. Subscribe. Let us keep on going. For us to keep this vehicle going, you guys need to just subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Pause or subscribe. I can't tell you check have you subscribed or anything. But anyway, moving on, guys. Today is a very interesting episode, man. It's one of those episodes that I always wanted to do and all that, but like they take a while and everything, but eventually they always come, man. I'm joined by someone who's very interesting, someone who okay, like her profile says, okay, she's still like that or whatsoever. It's a she, obviously. Her profile says feminist, political consultant, human capital and talent management. Mosadi as well. Petrol bomb. Petrol bomb. It's what is missing here. She's always been in the socials for a very long time, and like she has. Also another thing is that she has a cult of a personality. I know a lot of women who have joined politics because of her. I know a lot of women who have joined certain movements because of her and all that. She's so many presents in once, man. Guys, let us welcome Reseo You know how it goes. Petrol bomb.
Who's it? Who's it
Petrol
doing?
bomb.
How are you?
Are you still petrol bomb?
Not anymore.
Why not?
Never. Maybe version a tone down of the petrol bomb, but I'm not that person anymore. A grown part of petrol bomb. That's who I am now.
Yeah, but like the petrol is still there.
Yeah, the petrol is still there. You just need to test it. You'll see it.
It's not bombing anymore. Or it only bombs on someone.
Yeah, when it's necessary.
Let me ask you this question. I've always asked you that like we do this and everything. Yeah, and you always like, I'm not ready and I'm not ready. And then lately like you're the one who hit me up. You're like, I'm ready for this thing. Why now? What's the motivation?
Kore, I think to a certain extent, people are always expecting some conversation from you. So it has always been my rule, Kore, when people are expecting you to talk, just lay low because they're expecting you to say something and then they criticize you there and there. So just keep it low. Think about it, get a clearer mindset, and then that's when you can start talking to people. When you're not ready, you're not ready. So even if I say, hey, let's do it today, I'm not going to give what you wanted or take out, you are not going to take out what you wanted from the conversation. Yeah. So I'm ready now. I'm ready to speak about who I am.
Yeah.
What's motivating me, what hurt me, what didn't hurt me, and how do I intend to move forward. So I'm ready for the conversation now.
Yeah, speaking of that, it's been a while we've really seen like the petrol bomb, like you mentioned, you're no longer like that and everything. So people would wonder, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
What spirits are you in today and lately, or ever since you have
Ghana people always ask me that question, how are you? They make it seem like I was dying or something. I didn't die. It's
Yeah.
part of life. Whatever you guys think happened to me, it's okay. Everyone gets that, like, a challenging part of their lives, and you don't get to cycle around
Yeah.
that phase. You need to
Yeah,
move
there's
on from
evolution.
it.
Yeah,
There's evolution. So I'm okay. I'm very happy where I am. I'm in a good space. There's room for improvement, but I'm okay.
Like I mentioned earlier, your profile says you're a feminist, political consultant,
Yeah.
human capital and talent management, and Mosadi.
Yeah.
Are you still all this? Like, tell us about everything here.
About which one specifically?
Okay, let's go with feminist.
Hey, feminist, I don't think there's ever a time where you say, I'm not a feminist anymore. Waban. You just evolve with the feminism, with the activism, because feminism is activism. Waban. When you finally are assertive of the environment that you live in, maybe you can start calling yourself a feminist. Waban. But the word feminist, but it's also about because they associate it with aggression. I don't know what else. And all that sort of stuff. But feminism is not new to Africa, the continent. We've had feminists before. Just that the word feminism mo Africa. If you could take it back to I don't know if it's the 16th century or somewhere there about. A lady called Queen Mojaji of the Balobedu clan in Limpopo. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. You can classify her as a feminist. In fact, she's a feminist because she fought the Balobedu clan in a matriarchal, what do you call it? Unlike like the patriarchal society expects a clan in le kgosi ya monna akere. But Queen Mojaji ever since the 16th century in Nainzili, Queen Mojaji the first, Queen Mojaji, I think this year Queen Mojaji the 7th, if I'm not wrong. So Queen Mojaji was the feminist, just that the word feminism in a in this continent or Libo, if you can take it to Angola, there's a lady Queen Zinga. Queen Zinga was a queen in Angola. She fought against the Portuguese resistance. She had the military prowess. She was also a diplomat. If you can read the book Queen Zinga, she was negotiating with some Portuguese guys, and then they wanted her to sit down on the floor because she's a woman. She quickly instructed one of her bodyguards so that Queen Zinga can sit on top of him. The Portuguese guys because they thought she was a woman, she's African, those people just sit more ditilo. They assumed because she was a woman, she was going to allow them to treat her like that. So feminism has always been there, even from the famous story of Queen Nandi of she was a very strong woman, she was a feminist. So feminism is not new. It's something that has existed over a very long time. Just that the word feminism is new to us, and sometimes, like I say, people associate it with aggression. You call it what a feminist? It's not about that. It's about the intersectionality of women. I can be a feminist, but maybe my character is not feminism. What I believe in is in feminism. You can't blame feminism on that. You understand? So most people say, hey, the feminist like by interview, most of them are down to earth. But because feminism most of the time Rona the loudmouth, we're always taking the front line. So people associate feminism with being loud, being aggressive, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being aggressive as a woman, by the way. We tend to bastardize. We have aggressive men, but we speak of aggressive women as though it's something that's out of the ordinary.
Okay. would you, two questions. Would you admit, or to some extent, feminism has been taken out of context? Like, that's the first question. Two, according to you, Risel, what's the what's the definition of feminism according to Risel?
It's like feminism evolves. It has evolved with time. We have, I think, 4 phases now of feminism.
Okay.
The first phase, I think it was in the 19th century. Women were fighting for their right to vote, right? I get now we know that equal rights, you can vote, I can vote. So everyone gets to vote. But in the 19th century, women were not allowed to vote. That was the first phase of feminism. Women were fighting for their suffrage rights. And then the second phase, it was about social inequalities and employment.
Okay.
Right? Women were fighting for their right to land. I still deserve the right to have my own land. Then right? As the man of the house, doesn't need to work. And the second phase of feminism, I can 1956 there about, if I'm not wrong. And then if you can take the South African case study, the second wave of feminism. If you talk about, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Women's March in Pretoria, where about 20,000 women march against DPAS. I can know that like from one province to another. Most South Africa, you need to, how about Gauteng, go Eastern Cape, you would need a pass as though you are getting into another country. But unfortunately, that thing only applied for black people. So women were like brought themselves together. We are going to fight this as women. So those women, even though at that time they were not referred to as feminists, but they were actual feminists. That's where, what do you call it? The line, Watinti Bafazi, Watinti Mbokodo was born. Like, you strike a woman, you strike a rock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So feminism has always been there. Evolve. We're fighting for intersectionality, to be able to exist as different, I don't want to say types, but different types of women. Yeah, because other people identify as lesbian, all those. So I think the fourth and the last wave I think is almost like 2013, if I'm not mistaken. So evolve feminism according to the issues we face at the time. From the first wave, women couldn't vote. That's why they fought. The second wave, they were fighting unemployment, social inequalities. I'm not too sure what the third wave but why evolve? So if you ask me to define feminism, I'm not going to be able to say feminism is the growing of crops and blah 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 blah. But feminism is you fighting for your own existence. It's that bad. If you are a woman and you say you don't identify yourself as a feminism, then unfortunately you are saying as a woman you don't fight in your own little corner. You don't need to call yourself a feminist like the word, but your mere existence, that how you need to fight every other time. You need to fight against a person who's harassing you in the combi. You need to fight against a person who's stalking you, who's catcalling you. You are a feminist. So you can't disassociate. You can disassociate from the word feminism, but you can't disassociate yourself from your lived experiences. I get it.
The other question was that would you admit or feminism has been taken out of context lately or a lot of times? Because for me, to be honest, I learned of the word feminism from you. You get it? I didn't know what that thing was or whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then as I digged on it, I learned that people like Tupac, like they were feminists.
Yeah.
You get it, but like you said, the faces and all that. Back in those countries, there was segregation and everything, and
True.
you know, also like women's human rights, especially like they were trampled upon and everything. So the people were saying, you know, as much as you know, we as humans we should have equal rights and everything. So women don't vote. Like, can we please allow them to do certain things and everything? That's how guys like Tupac and a lot of people got sold into this feminism thing. But and then everyone feminism, yeah, the digital era and everything, and like it causes gender wars. You get it, and then like that's the basis of feminism to like to come and antagonize men or
Yeah.
whatsoever. And then I realized that okay, feminism actually it's a great thing. Like you get it, and also no, I mean like according to my own understanding, and
Yeah.
especially women they had no rights or whatsoever. Because I don't think our country is different from a lot of countries. You get it. Hana, we haven't experienced racism, a lot of things. Quite like we are blessed in that regard. So it would come off as if, okay, sometimes it has been taken out of context. Just like how good things were implemented, but along the way, we did take you out of context. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like feminism is still the real feminism, kind of it has been taken out of context here and there? Before she answers, can someone please switch off the aircon? It's it's puffing me up. Yeah.
Good, like I said, when I joy, the concept, feminism is not tied to a single person. If I identify as a feminist and you see me being aggressive,
Okay.
don't say it's feminism. It has got nothing to do with feminism.
Oh, okay.
Feminism is activism. Wawan. Kore, if you take concepts like bureaucracy, democracy, there are people who take those concepts out of context.
Oh, yeah,
Le
yeah,
bone.
yeah,
Like if there's supposed to be red tape ma gourmente. Some people think babereki ba gourmente they should be very difficult. Democracy, some people go to an extent of even abusing democracy itself. Let's take for example ha go loko parliamenting. Sometimes wa re etsa hela gore but le ruling party le ha ba le bantsi but motion o go buang ka ono. Ha se gore ke motion e leng gore it's going to be the best out of all the motions tse di builweng ko parliament. So the concept that's all people get to abuse them. It's unfortunately feminism has turned into kore batho seem not to accept the word feminism. Once you say I'm a feminist, go tsosa dintwa tse di letseng is as though o tile ka ntwa. But what I'm saying is people have always been feminists. Maybe I said the word feminism. I get feminism is activism. So people, I think the problem is with the word feminism. People have always associated with do tse di aggressive. Gore feminism ke ya basadi ba ba divorcitseng. Feminism, all those things. So it hasn't been taken out of context by anyone. You just need to sit back, allow yourself to understand what is this cause. And people should learn to detach personal characters from concepts. Like I was saying earlier, because she's a loud mouth and then you blame that on feminism. It's just a way of expressing myself. There are feminists they are conservative. You understand? So it's about people's characters. It's not about the concept itself.
According to Google, feminist is an advocate of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes. With that, would you say there's a thin line between feminism and antagonizing men, or we as men are not ready for feminism?
Okay, let me tell you why men always think feminism is sort of an attack to them.
Okay.
When I mention that I'm a feminist, then automatically I'm your enemy. Because unfortunately, those men are the same perpetrators that we're trying to fight. From your little corner, Kore, I don't think an innocent man who doesn't beat women, who doesn't catcall, who's not problematic to women, Waban, who doesn't have patriarchy entrenched in his head, would have a problem with me referring to myself as a feminist. Waban. The reason why, Joey, men have a problem with movements like men are trash, it's the trash itself. Banna ba ba siameng, ba ba sa raping, ba ba sa betseng basadi, they have absolutely no problem with saying men are trash. I agree, you're not saying.
But I have a problem with
No,
that because I'm a
listen.
man as well.
I agree, you're not saying Joey is trash. You're saying men are trash. Na ha ke tsamaya mo strateng, ebe go thwe, "Eish, o itse hore basadi ba lapisa." Because I know hore ha ke lapisa, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so Harry men are trash. Wena, because you are not trash, why do you have a problem with that? And let me tell you the second thing. The reason why feminist movements have evolved to be this aggressive is because sometimes you don't need to babysit your perpetrators. Okay, how nanzori hey tabathung ra le kopa re kopa le skala banna ba di taxi le skala bua. I'm just using banna ba di taxi as an example. Banna ba di taxi le skala bua le bana ba ma form 3. Sometimes you just need them to fuck off. Just tell them, king, you guys are being very nonsensical. You can't be chasing bana ba ma form 3. That's where the aggression comes from. Because women have been conservative for a very long time. How the one has been raped, thing. The woman would be the very first one to say, "Nya, I'm malume a meeting." It's not a familiar affair. Yeah, unfortunately, and women have just had enough of what do you call it? Slow activism. You need to be aggressive. Honali movement go Swaziland. They were unhappy with the king. I guess we know that the king hashtag at the nearly fuck the king. So hakore sometimes nana kwating as aggressive as I am, na kwating the king fuck curious. And unfortunately they had enough. Because there were killings, the economy was doing really bad. Sometimes people have it up to here. That's why these movements are born. So when someone says men are trash, Joey, when you're sitting from your podcast space, you're saying, the men are trash. We're saying men are trash because women are dying every other day. The statistics wanna say 6 women, documented statistics, at least 6 women are raped every day. 6. And that's the documented statistics. How many women are raped and keep quiet? Lots and lots of them. So when people say men are trash, it has got nothing to do with Joey the good guy, okay? And Joey needs to stay out of it.
My father.
If your father is trash, Joey, unfortunately he'll be affected by that hashtag. But if your father he would never be affected by things such as men are trash. If you can stress over a hashtag more than you can stress about my life, because I'm saying men are trash because my life is at risk. Every day I drive kana ha ke tsana ko tirong gona le monna yo ka ntshwarang ka marago, and it's not going to be a sexual harassment issue mo tirong because go ke berekang teng there is no ke sa re gore go ke berekang teng gona. It's just an example gore go ke berekang teng there is no sexual harassment policy, and if he's the boss, unfortunately nothing is going to happen. Okay, we say men are trash because basadi mo Botswana ba hita ba sena dithogo jo. I know at least 3 cases since 2013 of women who have been their bodies buried without their heads. So men have the luxury of saying, "Hey, men are trash. You guys are being too harsh. Why not say some men are trash?" No. If it doesn't affect you, then stay out of it. Men are trash.
Do you think the blanket approach is appropriate though? Like I mentioned earlier on, when you say men are trash, okay, also, when you say men are trash, other guys on the socials would say, especially your father, and then women would feel a certain way about it, because I think maybe the blanket approach, if you say rapists are trash, come on, like rapists are trash, dog. If you say violent men are trash, I mean violent men are trash. So don't you think that the blanket approach cause others gender wars, everything? Because as a man, I would admit that, you know, like there are certain things that we are, well, a lot of things that we are doing wrong and everything that we should improve and everything. But the blanket approach sometimes, you know, it's off. You get it? Like, don't you think that sometimes it's inappropriate? Because, like I said, we end up now saying, okay, so is your uncle, so is your father, so is your brother, so is your son, all those things.
Then so be it. If I say men are trash and then someone says, so is your father. If unfortunately my father is a woman beater, then he's trash. There's nothing I can do with that. Kuru, you don't need to babysit patriarchy and babysit perpetrators. You need to tell them to their faces. Kuru, you guys are trash. Wawan. Hey, so when I say men are trash and someone says, so is your father, so is your uncle. Now if I know that my dad is killing Yolo Ihela, then I don't have a problem. It's okay. Whether you insult me. Kore, what I'm trying to say, Joy, is politics of respectability have gotten us nowhere. Waban. Women have been saying, hey, violent men are trash for over centuries. You understand? That's you need to implore a certain level of aggression so that you get attention, one, from all stakeholders. You understand? How men are trash, everyone is going to listen to you. The innocent men, the trash itself, everyone is going to listen. But if you say violent men are trash, you are trying to be reserved because so unfortunately matshelo a rona don't allow us anymore. We need to go rogue, we need to go raw because we're trying to protect ourselves. This men are trash movement, the movement that's the feminists, you think that they're harsh. They're born out of frustration, they're born out of anger, they're born out of fear. Because Joey, in South Africa, there's a young woman, I can't remember the name, Nene. You know what she did? She was a student in UCT. I don't know if it's UCT or University of Western Cape. She left her apartment, student dress, and went out to pick a parcel at the post office. She didn't make it back. You understand? So if you worry about a movement here, men are trash, when a young woman can go to the post office and come back alive, then you pretty much don't worry about human life itself. You understand? Women have been killed. Women have gone to dates and never came back to their children, their families. I was saying earlier that women have been buried without their heads. So we don't have the luxury to worry about men are trash.
Like there's no time.
There's no time. 6 women are raped every other day. Nakore, if it was according to me, I would use a more harsher, more aggressive tone. So I've used that before. Like, let me just get it from my phone, okay? Like, there's a statement I put out on Facebook that landed me in trouble. Why is I get
Which one is there? Like you said a lot of
No. I think it was 2020. I can't remember the month. I wrote on Facebook, Friday, everyone must be on the streets, on the roads, outside of their offices, outside classrooms with their placards and petrol bombs, and protest against the inaction of the BDP-led government. Buildings will burn, cars will not move, our lives are at risk 24/7. No one must sleep. President Masisi will not sleep.
They've been inciting violence.
I was inciting violence. I was taken to a holding cell for, I think, 2 days, spent a night there or 2. So we need that level of aggression. Because unfortunately, when women talk, no one listens. It's just another day where police report or this person is abusing me, my partner is abusing me. They tell you, it's like we are not in a rush to address those things. Wa ntlhaloganya? Our political will is not at the right place. As a country, as a government, as whoever, as whatever stakeholders, the will is not there. Wa bona? Go a buiwa ko dikgoteng, go a buiwa go bitswa di-men's conference, let's not abuse women, and it's just another talk show. Wa bona? Nothing is happening. So unfortunately, this message was taken literally, but it was a figurative expression. Gore we should come to a standstill until the country should not function until these issues are addressed. Wa ntlhaloganya? So when they took it in the literal sense, gore, hey, I was going to ban cars, President Masisi was not going to sleep that night. Unfortunately, that was just out of frustration. Now, when I wrote this message, I used to stay with the Kumrodhan Kahara Hapulas Barobidotas model. Very dangerous kasi. So it's so how hakala le go di roboto. Ke tola tsela ke tswa from Pulaspa because it was just 5 minutes walk from Pulaspa. And then Niki apere mosese hela wasn't too short, wasn't revealing anything. Monna hela ba antsha thoka fence tira mpitsa maina o time, like calling me a sex worker. Hey, kante wa ile taxisetsa mo tseleng. Batho ba modimo. That time ke tswa go reka borotho kana le mai. So I was really frustrated and really sad. This is how we normalize this behavior. This is rape culture. You think you can make opinions about my body just because you don't know who I am, you don't know my story, but you think it's normal for you to just put your head out, and even the people because no one is saying anything to you. It was a hot summer, people so everyone na mood. And unfortunately no one said a thing. La nka ya go police ne ba go mpotsa gore mme gone monna yo mmaya ka o go buise ya lo re mo charge ka eng, like casual ha itsa go police ne ke ya go boletswa hela hape le ga batho ba certify. So the mechanisms to handle women issues and gender-based violence mo Botswana o ka re go dirwa go lathelwa because ha ke tswa gona na ke ya go reporta go police ke re I've been sexually violated. Ke khona go babiswa le batho ba tilong ba ba botswang ka bogodu ya dikgomo ebile ha gona di cubicle, ha gona di private rooms. Ke botswa ke le ha pulane a ntse hale mai ke ntse hale go rata ntse hale. You understand? Ke ta bua yang because sexual violence has issue en ka ta o I report o ka re ke utswetse phone. My dignity has been literally stripped. Ke bua yang gore motho ntse se dikoba ka dikgoka yo ke tshenang le ene santha go simla go questioner wa re motho o tshenang le ene gape gore le di officers tsa teng they don't even understand what they're supposed to do or how they're supposed to treat survivors of gender-based violence. They're not trained to do that.
Is it something that you're talking from experience?
Personally, yes. I've reported gender-based violence once. It happened to me that someone hit me. I reported them, and then so the police came over to our house. They were kante khanye wa ile sa ibu ke go ibua gape. So these things they're serious. And sometimes when I people just think feminism ke fashion. We're not doing this thing out of fashion. Fashion enjoying our lives. But unfortunately we have to fight every other day. We have to safeguard the safety of our children, our mothers, our old mothers who can't speak for themselves anymore. Yeah.
You've been a feminist for around how long now?
As for 30 years now.
For 30 years now.
I'm 30 years.
Okay. How would you see the world, or I don't know if I should say the world, or men are responding to feminism? Is it helping? or does it make things worse, or it's like there's just no impact, or what?
Unfortunately, men have made the conversation about themselves. Like I
Okay.
was saying, it's a men versus women kind of conversation, but it's not supposed to be that. Waban. If Joey, you are fighting from, if you are anti-rape, you are anti-sexual violence, you are anti-women beatings, then automatically you're on our side. You are a feminist, right? And you should try, by all means, if you see a post from Resego, try and understand it from her side of things. Gore, this is the person who's writing from frustration, yeah. Probably her childhood experiences, her experiences with life, hella itself. Gore, ke motho, what kind of person is she? And what does she stand for? What does feminism mean for a woman mo Botswana? Like I was saying, matshelo a rena at risk. I'll keep on saying that. That's why this men versus women thing is stemming from. And then unfortunately, the reason why le sort of resistance, it's because of the characters, people who are associated with feminism. One,
Like you.
like myself.
Okay.
One, people will say, hey, re se go roga batho. Eh, ha go tlhokagala hore ke go roga, ha o nthoga ke a go roga.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people will associate that with feminism, the concept, but that's not what feminism is. Eh.
So, like, would you say maybe your character might, in a way, contribute to people not appreciating feminism?
No, it won't. You know why I'm saying it won't? Because, like I was saying,
Yeah.
the feminists by now, they're very reserved. Total opposite of who I am.
Oh, yeah.
They would never swear. They'll never drink beer. They'll never smoke. But why do you choose this part of feminism that you want to bastardize? I can even, if you know, even for Christians, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but we choose that beautiful side of Christianity. I get. Why can't we choose the beautiful side of feminism? It's just men trying to pick war with but whoever identifying with feminism because of their self-esteem issues. It has got nothing to do with feminism, the concept.
Let's talk about there was that whole phase here, I wear what I want. I got where it came from, because like women were harassed for their bodies and all that.
Yeah.
Maybe like for exposing their bodies and all that. But as a father, I'm a father. You get it? I wouldn't want my girl child to go out there or asa apara at all, because of I know that it's not decent. True, I know that it puts her in danger. You get it? So I mean, that what I'm trying to ask is that where's the line between you being at liberty at wearing whatever that you want, but at the same time being decent? Like I'm saying, I get that it's wrong to be harassed.
Yeah.
You know, like there's proper correction. One or
Yeah.
or whatsoever. So where's the line between decent and I wear what I want?
You know how the I wear what I want movement was born? We were normalizing rape culture. Men were saying basadi ba rape you because of bukhuswane bo bo aparang. The movement I wear what I want was a direct response to that. Gore whether ke apere mosese, whether umpona ke apere underwear, whether umpona ke apere hijab, it doesn't give you the right to have access to my body without my consent.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, Joey. Women have been raped by apere mesese e metelele. You can't tell me that no Muslim woman has ever suffered sexual violence. But sometimes they were covering hijabs even up to their fingers, but they still get raped. You understand? And case, an 8-month-old baby was raped. What was the reason? Because they're wearing their diapers. It's not about what you wear. Gore, that was what the I Wear What I Want movement was trying to address. And then coming back to your decency, that one, I think we should discuss it away from the movement, because the movement wasn't addressing decency. The movement was addressing the violence on women's bodies because of what they wore. I unore ngwana ga go ka mmitsa mora gore ngwana ka wa apara sentle to your life is in danger. Yeah, when we say your life is in danger because you apere di-shorts, kore ke a tlhaloganya, I totally understand. But to some extent, that's feeding into rape culture. Because you are saying to a 13-year-old girl, you can't wear shorts because banna ba tla go leba in a very sexual violating way. That's just a child. Why can't I just wear the shorts? And then what we need to do, Joey, instead of saying to the children that let's kala para di shorts, let's kala para hati ne di video amang di get the trend daga what di video amang skate say the rough dance.
Okay.
Or abana or baskaba para di get the rough dance because they have increasing their chances of being violated. Instead of preaching that to Bana, that message, you should substitute it for preaching directly to the men who have potential of doing that. You tell them, it doesn't mean not meaning like the biological like any other girl from there. It doesn't give you the right to start slut shaming them. Okay, it doesn't give you the right to touch their body without their consent. So socialization hela. It's wrong to wear shorts. It's not wrong to wear shorts. Let's rather preach a message to the perpetrators or potential perpetrators who are unfortunately our boy children. Our boy children become potential perpetrators if we don't grow them well. How's a rooting wanaga consent, Joey? Where do you expect him to learn of consent? So that's why it's very important. Socialization, ya bana hell. It's very important. So we can preach it because where we are, status quo dictates that if you don't tell that to your child, possibility of it happening, it will dim. But let's pay the messages. But Tonya as if she's wrong. Tell her the dangers of doing it, but also speak directly to the potential perpetrators or the perpetrators themselves. Le message you wanna messaging while this corporate institutions Botswana Police Service Christmas message things to note. Make sure you don't walk alone at night. You understand? Make sure you don't take beer from people you don't know. Why can't we preach a message that directly speak to the perpetrators themselves? Don't rape. Oscar don't walk at night. No, I want to walk at night. Even if I find myself in that situation where I have to walk at night, the messaging should be, do not rape. Walk at night, protect. But it shouldn't be the key message. Every other year, don't walk out at night. When is Botswana Police Service going to put out a post diary, do not rape?
Don't you think it can be addressed both at the same time? Because
that's exactly what I'm saying.
I mean, as a man, I'm security conscious. More than anything. Like, that's an inbuilt mechanism inside of me as a man. You get it? And also being security conscious, I've come to an understanding that some people are sick out there. You get it? That's why you wouldn't find, it would be very rare for us, Majita, like for instance, I wouldn't just walk alone at night because I know that the possibility of guys jumping me is high. I wouldn't take drink from anyone because I know that by possibility ban spike and then they mug me and I like you know that men violate other men like sexually.
No, that's
you
true.
get it? Possibility setting it high. So okay, since right now we are security conscious, alien inbuilt mechanism. it's some sort of automated consciousness, you get it, but we see our fellow sisters bone habanalo, so we're trying to advise them, okay gents, we're not saying that this is right or whatsoever, but my sister, please try not to walk alone at night, because I want to walk alone at night because I know that they might jump me. I won't get anything from anyone or whatsoever, because I know that there's nothing such as a free lunch. I'm not saying that the person who diranyalo is okay, but I know how sick people are, and I know how selfish people are. I know how dark and sick this world is. You get it? So let my child call up in camera wanna para like no all those things. And then our society was okay. Like we had a very bright society, but now with the, like what you call it, with the
Development.
civilization, and everything, all these bad things, you get it? So I remember even kids, you know, like our older brothers, like they would wear this and that, like it was okay, but it endangers them because of how sick the world is, you get it? So don't you think maybe men who care about you, or Botswana police services or whatsoever, habare, okay, women avoid huirana, this and that, they are not in any way saying that it's okay for perpetrators to do that? Maybe it's because perpetrators habare, it's because that's the message all the times. Don't rape our sisters. Don't, when you steal, how will I or when you steal, you are going to jail for like 6 years or 10 years, but they keep on doing crime. They are criminals still, even though they know the consequences. Don't you think now the approach is maybe trying to curb that by protecting ourselves and our fellow humans more than anything else?
Yeah, good. What I'm saying is the messages should run simultaneously. Women shouldn't walk alone at night.
Without balancing.
Without balancing. Lona the perpetrators, can you desist from this kind of behavior? Because what I'm getting from now, like I was saying, rape culture. We're normalizing when women walk at night, ba rapiwa.
How do you define rape culture? Sorry to cut you in.
Rape culture is sort of like what we have normalized. The little things that we have normalized that we don't identify as criminal activities.
Okay.
Kana violence per se.
Okay.
How, like for instance, how lele mo officing hela motho ba gore marago wa go amante. That's a professional space. Why the hell are you making that comment? The colleagues are David Itzer. That's contributing to rape culture. Okay. These smaller jokes that we make. Some other sick guy on Facebook when I posted my phone 3 years stock was you understand?
Yeah, that's sick.
And unfortunately, I don't think there's any oka charge ka molatope. I don't know how ka charge ka molatope, but that's somehow normalizing the ultimate things that contribute to violence. Rape culture, rape culture is those are the things but in a way we don't see that those things contribute to violence. But that women suffer from. I was saying to my friend the other day that I don't think I would ever allow anyone, any male relative, to refer to my daughter as mogatsake. But you know, it's something that it's normalized. Even as it, even not have as robale talk, but haril mo lapeng hela mogolo hello motona can say to you, hey mogatsake, mo go bone they mean no harm. Honestly, I think it's something that I used to but it's something that we have normalized. So how we instill can also socialize ngwana to learn to understand that an elderly man can say mogatsake to any. Understand? And I itse mogatsake ke le go le diriswang gongwe let's say between mommy and daddy. You are already omo programmer to accept and maybe have violated, they wouldn't be able to tell you or express themselves because ufila gore mogatsake ole is normalized. So
psychological thing.
psychologically that's what that was bound to happen because le mama na sa buisepela monno la mpitsa mogatsake. So why would she say anything if that man is performing mogatsake duties on me? So these are the things that feed into rape culture that we have normalized. There are so many of them that can be criminalized, but you know they're wrong. That's what rape culture or
How do you feel about men, genuinely? Someone would wonder how does Resoko Kosijinsi feel about men?
Yeah, no,
Because-
I don't hate men.
like how do you feel about men?
Contrary to popular belief, I don't hate men.
like how do you,
I
you don't
just
them?
hate perpetrators. And unfortunately, most of the perpetrators are men. So you can do what you want with that information.
How do you feel about? Because for me, dog, I love women. Dog, you know,
Ah,
I love women.
nah,
I feel
hi-
like, I feel
hi-
like
hi-
women are beautiful human
Ankara, I
beings,
love
stuff,
men. I'll
beautiful
be
cre-
stretching it.
like you'd be stretching it. So you don't love men.
No, I accept men as human beings. But I also get pissed off from the fact that they're also perpetrators. And unfortunately, the perpetration, haina sepe gore a ke relative is your brother, because your own brother Joey, I could be resego ke le ha ke preach a message wa like protect our women, and then my own brother becomes a perpetrator. That's how hurtful this thing can be. So sometimes we try and strike a balance between loving your own relatives who are also perpetrators. Koro, it's a complex situation. But unfortunately, if someone doesn't stand in, if someone doesn't do the frontline work of telling men, you guys are wrong for doing this, then we're headed for a very dire situation.
So closing this question off, you don't hate men.
No,
you
I don't
love
hate men.
You like.
I
you just
I
tolerate
accept men. I tolerate men to be human beings like I am. But I hate perpetrators.
You hate perpetrators.
Yeah.
Okay, one would wonder. Let's talk about you now personally. One would wonder, okay, you being a feminism and everything else, like, does your background, where you come from, inspired you to be where you are now? And also, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but like we grew up together.
Yeah.
You get it? And I think, or maybe I might have missed something. You had good, like there was a good background around you and everything. You know, I mean, like we went to church together. You know, and all that. And the men at church, like they were loving, like you were their darling. Like that's how. Maybe like I'm saying, I might have missed something. I don't know and all that. So I would wonder, okay, you being the person that you are, or choosing to be a feminism and get into here, does your background play some sort of a role? And you just saw something, and then along the way you were like, flip this.
No, unfortunately, my upbringing doesn't have anything to do with my feminism.
Oh, okay.
It's something that I grew into. Like for instance, I started doing debate when I was in junior school.
Okay.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So
Go
hardly
message.
o go seja go khurumela tata ke tsoga ka le di-guys tse di dangerous. So feminism, you grow into it. Something happens to you and then you speak out. And then eventually you see I need to speak out more often. Sometimes let's say debate teaming, and then you don't understand the criteria. How are these boys part of the first team? I am not, but I know I can speak better than them. Those smaller things, they build up the anger in you. So if you speak out once, I don't think you'll ever be able to stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, as in like your...
Kore go na le some level of assertiveness. If you speak out once, you need to speak out more often, because you can't watch other people violate you in your presence also. You need to speak out for yourself and on behalf of those who can't speak for themselves.
But like for your background, was it quite the opposite, like how I've seen it? As in, like, the men around you were always been okay. And
Yeah,
all
they've
that.
even my cousins.
Yeah.
My cousins were very rough.
Yeah.
Basetsana ne le nna le Lebu.
Uh-huh.
And we grew up around basimane ba bantsi tota. My cousins ne le basimane.
Yeah.
So go tshamekiwa borafo and ba sena nako ya go babysittanyana ka gore wena o ngwanyana. O mongwe o kile a kgaola re rile swinkiana ka mogala ka ne le chain ka ne le mogala bona ntse ke swingela ba khata a khata it's working. It was really painful. So my upbringing was very interesting because ne re tshela le basimane and our parents they're very conservative people. Ne re tsana go Adelaide Primary School go Serowe. But had go di tswala ha re di 4 ha o tswa ka di 4 papa wa goroga ka vene ko sekolong wa go laisa at the back of the van hana sepe la masimo wa bona. At some point my grandmother na tsama le rona pla ga chicken licken go sore ra go rekisa madila go re ke botsa a me go re la go ntse go temba tsa modimo so it was the conservative people but they cared the most about your upbringing, your well-being. They would never allow you to miss school, not under any circumstances. La o ka re wa lwala kampa go isa sepatela ha o sa sepatela go to school. So it was a very decent upbringing.
From a conservative family setup and for you to being an orthodox on the socials and all that, how do they feel about it? Because like for me I would get like my cousins would ask me, don't you ever get consent for
Lanta used to make me very sad. What if ke thabisa batsadi bang ba dithong one but ha go ntse go ya because you know what, there's nothing I'm doing wrong. Ha ke utswi ha ke thuetse batho ha ke roge batho. I'm just an activist. In fact, if anything, they should be proud of me. And my parents, I didn't want to have the conversation with them because I could do they were the poster from Gaborone. They wouldn't even ask me. But the cousins I make whenever they but they didn't see anything wrong. My parents have always told me that they were proud of me. My dad was very hurt. Hurt not because I did anything wrong. Hurt because how at that specific point. But he did everything a parent could do to make sure that I get out. He made all the calls. On the second day when they wanted to physically come to the city, it tells you that those are caring parents. Even like in Siwa, nobody said to me, sat me down and said, what you are doing is wrong. In fact, they would be very interested. So I'm forever grateful for the parents that I have. They let me be myself without conservative being an activist doesn't necessarily mean I'm disrespectful. I'm not disrespectful. Like my true friends. They know this, like from the bottom of their hearts. They'll tell you, even if they know that I'm an introvert. You know that I'm an introvert.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Yeah, well, like you have always been a very shy person.
I'm also soft-spoken.
You are. I was surprised to see you coming up in politics and, you know, saying whatever that you want to say and everything. And so, yeah, like to me, it came as a surprise. It came as a shocker. You get it? So, speaking of that, like I'm saying, I was surprised to see you getting into politics and all that.
Yeah.
When did that call come in now? Okay, no, now I want to jump into politics. And how did it come about?
I think politics, hella generally, I get politics is just being able to make comments about being assertive about the environment you live in. I've always been that person since the Mabogo days, then it's similar debate.
Okay.
Because we would debate this and this and this and this. But the partisan politics, that we identify a certain political party, were an influence of my friends. Because I was around them for a very long time.
Okay.
I was always with them. I was like, oh, okay, but this is not bad.
Yeah,
Or when
yeah,
I
yeah.
can actually do this. So I joined BNF when I was 17 years old. Kira first year. So the partisan politics were an influence of my friends. Also, I thought they would give me a louder voice in trying. They'll augment onto the activism that I had. So I thought they would give me a platform to maybe speak about the real issues, gender justice that I'm interested in. So that's the real intention the real reason why I joined politics, because I wanted a platform, a bigger platform than the one I had.
Was there enough support from women?
Yeah, there was. You know what the problem is? Many times people often say women don't support women. We're trying to put a bad light to women. But I think the reason why women don't support other women should be studied. Okay? Women are victims of the patriarchal system. When I grew up, I was told that okay? That's the socialization I got growing up. Okay? This is me, 30-year-old Resego. So imagine my 90-year-old grandmother. So when my grandmother doesn't support grandmother B, who's our neighbor, a contester for election, usually it's not out of you understand? It's because of their socialization. They were both of them were raised from the narrative that women can't lead. This one who's contesting for elections, fortunately, has been able to break free from that narrative. But this granny here, who still believes that Hadi Etellepele Kemana Mahadi is not supporting another woman, not because she's jealous, okay? She's doing that because she has been socialized to believe that women can't lead.
Yeah.
So, how women don't support each other. Again, it's a narrative that's perpetuated by men. Because it works in their advantage.
But do women support each other though, politically?
They do, but it's a struggle. And the struggle is because of the reasons I'm giving you. They were socialized to believe that women can't lead.
Okay, like for me, the problem that I have with this whole thing is that I believe in people being appointed on merit, regardless of gender or whatsoever, this and that.
True.
I mean, if you're good at what you do and you're a woman, no problem. You get it. If you're not good at what you do, let's say it's me and you're good at something better than I. They should appoint you, regardless of your gender or whatsoever. But we have this thing in our society now where I am for the inclusion of everyone. You get it? But sometimes this particular gender or this particular race or this particular, I don't know, kinds of people won't be good at something compared to this particular kinds of people or gender or race or whatsoever. Where do we draw the line here, inclusion? Because we've seen sometimes people can be included and then they would do mediocre job. But don't know a great thing, inclusion. So where do we stop?
High example.
We need that example. You get it? So where do we stop with that?
You know what the problem is, Joey? I think we tend to we adjust the standards as and when we as and when it's comfortable or it's preferable for us. For instance, if Resor goes to parliament, people want to know, where did she study? I get what's in school guy. Does she drink alcohol? Does she smoke? But if it's you, Joey, no one cares if you're married. no one cares gore o tsene sekolo kae.
Yeah.
Wa ntlhaloganya?
Yeah.
No one cares how many kids you have or how many baby mamas you have. But the standards are not the same. So if you are going to appoint a man who's not qualified for parliament, then you can do the same for a woman. Gone yan ha re leng teng, we don't appoint people on merit. So if a woman is appointed and not on merit, why are you making noise? Because a man was also appointed, but he doesn't qualify for that specific thing. So the pedestal should be like, go lekane.
Like, is there a particular example that you can give, Gompieno? Is there
I
a certain
got
man
three
who was
kgolega.
appointed not in merit?
I ke batle go
Currently.
ikgolega. But ko parlamenteng hela Joey, from the conversations, from the debates, you can hear gore
I'm not about they were voted. Can I?
Eh,
Oh,
I
you
kere-
mean or like Baba appointed?
No, not ba ba appointilwe. I
Okay,
kere le go vote is some sort of appointment.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
vote
yeah.
of confidence.
Oh, yeah,
Wa
yeah,
appointilwe, but through the vote.
Yeah, yeah,
Wa bona?
yeah,
I kere before o emela top national elections, go nna le political parties have what you call primary elections. I get it's me and you go Botswana People's Party kana go Mills. I get ra thulana ko
It's our
go tsewa cream de la cream ke yone e be ya go ema ko national elections.
Yeah,
Wa bona? So sometimes wa bona hela gore ha tota ha. So the issue ya merit at the moment mo Botswana, both men and women ba bang kore from both angles, both ba kgona go thoka merit eo, that some of them are unqualified, but it's not a woman thing. Unfortunately mo Botswana, the standards re batla go di isa ko godimo hela for women. That ke sone se ne ke gore a kere kore ha ke le ko parlamenteng, people want to know gore o nyetswe ke mang, o na le madibuka he o driver koloi he. But for you Joey, it's the conversations. People want to hear what you say. Wa bona? Ha go ile ko sona, unfortunately for me, people would not be really interested in the content that I have to share.
Your delivery.
Eh, ba batla go bona gore mose sole ga tene o design wa ke mang onole. Wa bona? So it's not always the same pedestal. We treat women leaders and men leaders differently. And some kore most of the time re ba baya on ha ke tso ka bidwa higher pedestal kana ra just the standards based on gore motho ke mme kana ke rre. Wa bona? From the previous parliament go ne gona le batho ba bona hela gore ke ra borre ba bona hela gore le from this parliament ya gompieno wa bona hela gore tsa o bua ka main wa bona hela gore re yo tota ene ha gona sepe sa se bua. Wa bona? But unfortunately the unqualifiedness doesn't get that much of attention.
Compared to women.
If it's a woman, we're going to probably blow it out of proportion.
Let's talk about your political rise now, because
Yeah.
you, like, when you were rising, you took the political space by storm, like the political scene by storm. I mean, we had never seen a woman, we had never seen such a young woman into politics who was that vocal as you. We had never seen a woman who approached politics with being unorthodox. I mean, you might say you're an introvert, but you know, you were going at the party that you were opposing at the time, or the current government as you are, the current government of the time, or again the previous government of the time that you were opposing, or whatever political opponent that you would face. I mean, you would go in and you made an impact. Like I said earlier on, we saw a lot of girls getting into young girls getting into politics because they were inspired by you and everything, you know. What gave you the fire, and how was it like for you during that time?
I think it's a bit unfair for you to say
Okay.
you know why people think I'm the pioneer of women in politics, especially the aggressive, standing before men. It's because I was at the right place at the right time. Okay. My activism was met with the proliferation of the use of social media.
Okay.
So that's maybe what propelled my political activism. But I wasn't the first to do that. There are so many women who came before me, but they fought even harder battles than myself.
Same style.
Same style, but
Okay.
it wasn't televised.
Okay,
I can speak of Dr. Kathleen Letaba. I don't know if you've ever heard. One of my favorite women, mo Botswana, because she's my favorite because she has contested for BNF presidency. I can't remember how to contest against Mupo, Otsweletse Mupo at that time. So there's so many women who did dilo tse e leng gore ne di sa tlwaelesega who came before me. But unfortunately, ne go sena social media kana it wasn't that prevalent at the time. Bo Same batho ba kae, she's the first woman to ko Tlokweng, may her soul rest in peace. She was the first woman wa opposition to win a parliamentary seat.
Okay.
Baba.
Interesting.
So there are so many of them who came before me who did great things. But because no was in social media, you don't get to see their videos, you don't get to see their things. Baba.
So another thing, I mean, this goes without saying, like you are part of DGB's people team, bro. Like the current president of the country now, like you alongside Owe, I don't know, other ones, but especially you. I mean, maybe you were standing out because of how good you were at it, or maybe you were a woman or whatsoever. I don't know. Yeah. How was it like being part of? Because though you knew there was a time on social media where you knew that if you say anything that goes against Boko whatsoever, pitbulls are coming.
At the pitbulls.
Exactly. You get it. And you were strongly part of that team. How did your relationship with President Duma Boko come about? How did you guys meet, and what kind of a relationship was it?
The relationship was leader to leader. Baban. I don't know how leader how we related. Really the comrades.
Okay.
Baban, we were a team. I get to team we got be relate yang. You have your tasks when I dirase.
Striker, defender, coach.
It was just that there was nothing extraordinary about, not to downplay it, but there was nothing extraordinary about that specific team. Kore hela batho ne ba tlwaetse gore usually the team that surrounds the president e nna batho ba e leng gore ba tshwere maemo a go godimo ba bana kana go na le di-political parties tse e leng gore they are conservative. They wouldn't want the closest people to the president to be gongwe banana ba bana. President o tshwanetse gore a surroundiwe ke bagolo ba BNF ba bogologolo ba le wa nthaloganya. So that's why maybe the team caught some action. Also it was a well coordinated team, honestly. That's why it caught the attention. Who
put up the team together? And like, was it intentional or accidental?
No, I don't think. Not for me. It was never intentional. It was just this person is the president of the movement, so I need to maybe listen to his speeches more to try and get the direction of where the party is going. I agree, you get direction a party from the leader of the party. So you can only get that if you meet up with the president, listen to his speeches, listen to his feedbacks, you listen to the radio. Le ha bua go khota defender the candidates and the top of the petitioning. You need to be there for me. I get because I we're trying to recruit people into the movement. Petition. What's the position of the party? So that's why maybe.
What did you learn from working side by side with someone as highly esteemed as DGB that time?
I would say I learned a lot. The first thing being, you should own your story.
Okay.
How to read this position? You defend it.
Yeah, at all costs.
At all costs. Don't say now because Joey is convincing me to say this. And unfortunately, I think that became that was one of the instigating factors to the death of the relationship that was there between me and him. Because Len position. That's my position. I'm going to take it. I don't care who you are, whether you are the party president or whether you are the secretary general. I think I got that thing from him. For how it's a position, you need to defend it.
Yeah. To be honest, like a lot of us were inspired by his character. You know, like he came up and then he would own his position. He would own whatever that he believes in, and this thing of being rebellious and everything, coming up and then getting on a podcast and say whatever that you want to say. You know, he played a role on that as well. So what happened between you guys? I mean, there was this mass exodus, towards the top. There was just this mass exodus. A confusing mass exodus. People are just
I don't want to speak.
Going. And then the shocking one, it was you, Yandani, and then Owe. Like, that was just so shocking. Okay, I'd say for Yandani because he's family. Yeah, but for you and Owe, like, especially you, like, how you always defended him and everything. What happened? Because, like, us outside, we would think, okay, no, these people are like a family. I mean, if you can defend someone like that, your dog, like this is your clan. You get it? So we would wonder, what happened? Like, what went wrong?
Yeah. I think we should all appreciate that politics are very personal.
Okay.
Personal, not in a sense that personal, but it's a personal cause. Even though you are ultimately working for a bigger cause, but it's also for you, the person. So I don't think that the main reason my personal side wasn't fulfilled.
Okay.
That's all I can say. I don't want to speak of who was wrong, who was right. But I felt that the personal side of me wasn't fulfilled by the relationship anymore. And I don't think anyone was willing to listen to me. That's what brought the conflict.
Do you think it was personal from the other side, or it was just
no, I don't think it was personal. Yeah.
There's this thing, okay, like that's the thing. You get it? Yeah.
Or you know why barata go bua gore motho ha bane le puso? Because people think we don't have like personal lives, we don't have careers. Wa bona gore gongwe puso e monate go nna ntse o ipoka gore nya re tsere puso. I think it's a nice thing. Wa bona. So usually ha batho ba re o hapane le puso, they're trying to make it seem like o hapane le madi. Gore ya no ha gona sepe se o ka se dirang. I mean, Botswana is a free will country. Ke tsene sekolo, fairly I can get a job go institutioning welling because I'm qualified. So batho ba reng hapane le puso ke ba dumelang gore dipolitiki tshwantse gore di go duele. Dipolitiki a di a tshwanela go duela di ope tshwantse gore di go leboge.
Yeah. But besides that, Hella, how does it feel? I mean, dog, you fought for this cause for so long. This cause has costed you a lot of relationships, I believe. It has costed you maybe a lot of how society or level like I think what like it is. I mean, also this cause it contributed to the person that you are now. And then after fighting for so long, like just at the like just getting there, and then you for your valid reasons, you jump ship and
not jumped ship.
Okay.
I
pulled back. Okay, yes. You pull back. And then when you pull back, the course UDC gets into power and everything. How did that feel? Because for me, I'd feel like and I'd be very disappointed, dog. I'd really cry. You get it? For you, like, how did it feel?
To be honest with you, a certain part of me was very sad. This is something that we have been instigators. We've instigated this thing for almost 10 years now. But the other side of me was happy because ba tata ba addressa dilelo tse batswana ba ntseng ba bua ka tsone. So it was just a mixture of feelings gore I'm not part of that celebrating team now, but also a part of me was saying maybe it's okay, it's not for me personally, but because ke Motswana le nna, I'm going to benefit from the larger cause of the party that's ruling now. So no gona le gone yana, but I'm okay, I'm not sad anymore. I don't hold grudges against anyone. I'm not angry at anyone. So
would you say you were fulfilled during that time? Like, were you okay? Get a lot like the you're saying like there was sadness. There was also okay, no, the cause eventually that won. So in overall, how would you say like you were feeling? Or can it was half?
It was half.
you cannot put a
Sometimes
meaning to it.
because they would rub it on my face like daily. Not rub it in my face in a good way. Hey, they would make me sad, but it's instead mo ileng gore nka thola ke itswalletse mo ntung ke re ha ke tswe mo ntung wa bona. So gone yana it's okay whether you say to me ke hapane le puso. I'm just going to laugh and have a conversation with you because it's not personal for me. Yeah.
How is the relationship like now between you and President Bok?
I don't think there's any relationship.
There's any relationship?
Yeah, because we haven't conversed ever since
that
the
time.
last time. Yeah.
Like, what if like he picks up his phone one day and then calls you back into the team? Like, would you consider?
I get qualified. Ke tshwere merit gona wa bona. So I don't think I would have a problem. But nna ke motho ke dumela mo di issues tse di addressiwang wa bona. I don't like sleeping things under the mat. Wa bona. Maybe in a more calmed environment we can say like a reconciliatory meeting of some sort that could be acceptable wa bona. But what I don't want people to do is to start saying Resego, you were wrong. Like I'm saying, even you, because I haven't told you, you don't know what happened. I get that's a story that I'm not ready to share yet. So I don't want people to say Resego was wrong 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 when they don't know the actual story. So but hela nka tshwara hela go no, let's meet up or boela mo partying. I don't think I'd boela immediately. Because I'm in a good space. I don't think I'll boil immediately. I'll consider it, but it wouldn't be an immediate decision. I would have to think it through and know what exactly it means for me. I'm getting myself into that same space that I thought was toxic for me again.
Do you miss him?
How can you miss a leader? How is that possible? We are not personal friends. No, we are not personal friends. But from the circle, there were people who he related with more on a personal note. Our relationship has always been comrade. So they miss him because they were friends. Rona, even if we would have lunch, it would be lunch on a comradely note. From one leader to another, it wouldn't be, hey, kante Barcelona is hamkile or Arsenal is hamkile. You understand? Yeah.
Do you miss the band?
The band again?
Yeah, the band, like the team that you were with.
Yeah, the team the relationship hasn't changed
it's still there.
With anyone else.
Oh, okay, it's still there. So, one would wonder, okay, you left the party and everything, and then like you went to work on the other side, right?
Yeah.
How was it like on the other side? And also, how did your fellow or former comrades feel then, like when you leave and then you go work for the arch-rival or whatsoever?
Yeah. I think personally it was career-wise, it was a very, very fulfilling experience. You don't get to see a young person work or get an opportunity and give it their all. I gave it my all. I was as professional as a professional person can possibly be. So professionally, it was a very good experience for me to work with government, see how they run things. Yeah.
So, like, how did it feel then when the BDP lost the elections, when you were working for that government in Ingela BDP? Like, did you feel like you lost as well, or what?
Kore when you occupy a political space,
Okay.
a position that you are politically appointed, kore go sa twe kore we all know gore position ya teng people are kore gwa I don't know if to say gwa appointiwa or gwa twing, but the personal secretary, there are preferences of the ministers. Kore you can't impose a private secretary on a minister because ke motho o berekang le ene every day, so it would not make sense gore kere Joey private secretary a go kere se wena o sa batle go bereka le nna. Wa bona. So le ha ke tsena mo go ona, I had counseled myself knowing that there's a possibility that this happens. I kere ke le politiki, I know these things. Wa bona. So ha go diragala, of course it made me sad that I was gonna lose my job, but it wasn't shocking. Wa bona. It didn't come to me as a surprise. Le ha o emela dithopo wa itse gore o ka jewa kwana kana wa lose. How lose ha batho ba go bona o lela, it's not because o no sa sologela. It's a human reaction gore ke utlwisitse botlhoko ke gore I really wanted this for myself. Wa bona. And it didn't happen.
That's another thing that I would like us to talk about. I mean, you losing your job and then having to move on and everything. I mean, we see a lot of people losing their jobs and then they would go to an extent of getting depressed. Some, they would even do some sort of do the disasiamang and everything. How were you able to move on from that? Because like you look okay, like you look healthy.
Kore Joey, I've always been able to self-manage.
Okay.
I can manage my feelings. Even if I cry, kuntung, kita ke a lela, I lor ke lela 10 minutes, ke a lela, but I know eventually life has to move on. Okay. And I've not, this wasn't my first occasion ya go tusa bothoko ke something se political or something like that. You remember I've been to a holding cell for 2 times. One in 2017 when we led a student strike. The second time in 2020 ka Facebook post yone. So those things, I think they've ignited that self-awareness, self-acceptance in me that these things do happen. And when they happen, it's okay for you to be sad. You know, you are a human being, you're not a robot. It's okay for you to be sad, but you need to move beyond. And you need to do whatever it takes to move on from it. If it means you staying in the house for 2 months, then do that. Okay? For me, what healed me the most was just reserving my political opinions. That thing gave me peace, a lot of peace, because no one was, no was any comments, no was any criticism. I just went quiet. So it made me okay. Right now I'm okay.
How does criticism make you feel, especially in our social media, because it's mass criticism and it's hardly ever constructive criticism?
Politiki ha intsepe, to be honest. You can call me Mudomi, you can call me MubCP, you can call me Momels. It won't move me. It didn't move, and to be honest, is people making comments sometimes about my body. Sometimes things that I can't change. There's nothing wrong with my body, but there are people can just make comments. Ke tsone di-comments di ka nkutlhang bothoko, but le bothoko ba teng ha se bothoko bo e leng gore ke a o thola ke itswaletse mo ntlong. I'll just tell you I don't like ke motho o respondang to di-comment not just online. If you say something to me now that I don't like, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. And I give people grace of saying I'm sorry. I want benefit of the doubt. I get sometimes people do it out of excitement. Their Facebook. I'll just inbox you. Hey, my brother Joey, I don't think that comment was appropriate. If you still insist that you meant what you meant, then so these criticisms don't do anything to me. If anything, they've molded me to be the person I am, because I can stand. I believe I can make it out of any. I can make it out of it. If you can take me, o ntsenya mo kgwethong wa akanya gore I will not emerge victorious. The joke is going to be on you because I'm a hardworking person, to be really honest with you. I think a lot about my life. I think a lot about my future. So it's not something that I take light. Okay. Most of the decisions I make, though not always right, but I think through things. So the criticisms, people can't criticize you if you are just quiet. You like the common saying, a dog can't bug to. It needs to bug to a moving vehicle. So if you are moving, if the criticism you are moving on. That's true.
Yeah. So would you say motherhood is one of the things that extinguished like the petrol bomb, or because like one thing that I know is that as a parent, hey dog, like I know what that thing and I like it. It makes you conservative. It molds your heart. It puts you down, and I mean, that's what I know. So I would wonder, okay, did motherhood contribute to that, and us seeing the petrol bomb not exploding anymore?
I think to a certain extent, what if I say this and then I get arrested? What's going to happen to my daughter? Like, obviously, I know family is going to take care of her for the few days that I'll be there. But the thought, for that 2 days, in hold her back from saying some things. But also in the same path, it sort of sharpened my activism because there are so many things that happen to me daily that I don't want my daughter to experience. I'm trying you want a better future for my daughter. So it's half. Sometimes motherhood motherhood but also I appreciate that the person I am today is sharpened by the journey of motherhood.
Because like for me, part of why I had to evolve is that my son is old now. You get it? I don't want him, so I should be a role model to him.
That's true.
I should be a father and everything. So like he should see some sort of somebody.
Role model. You know how Winnie Mandela anaya go tsaya the two daughters, I can't remember their names unfortunately. Anaya go ba tsaya from the Soweto uprising. They never Mzabalazo because their mother was also a Mzabalazo queen. So in a certain extent, she inspired who they wanted to be.
Interesting. So now you say you are hardly okay. What is your political stance now? Are you apolitical or?
Yeah, I'm apolitical.
So like you are not an active politician now.
I'm not into partisan politics, but it doesn't mean that I don't have comments about status quo. I do have comments. Sometimes I agree with the government. Sometimes I don't agree with the government. Sometimes I agree with the BCP. Sometimes I agree with the BDP. The good thing about being apolitical is you can see things from a helicopter view. You don't have to always push your political party mandate. Your narratives. You are a balanced, you are a proper political or social commentator.
How do you feel about the current government currently?
I think they're in the right direction, but there are things that I obviously don't agree with.
Okay. And overall, I mean, like it has been a year by in power. How would you, I mean, as someone who has been deep into politics and everything, how would you say, how would you rate them? Another question, you were with them for a very long time. How they have performed now, would you say it's something that is expected or unexpected? Like whatever their performance is.
Core performance, they are doing okay, kana they're not doing okay. Because the issue didn't, and you need to look at the manifesto and say, they said they'll be able to do this in this long. Are they able to do it now? If they are not able to do that, why are they not able to do that? Kore, it's not a yes or no answer. It's a conversation that you have. Kore, ha le rile ha le batla go ha what do you call it? Students 2.5 allowance. You haven't been able to do that. What are the reasons? Yeah. So it can be a yes or no answer. You need to also to establish the reason why they're not able to do that. So unfortunately, political issues or political science, you can't give the answers are yes or no. You need to like gauge both sides of the status quo.
Let's close off the political chat now and then get to you and then we wrap up. How many minutes are we left with, Chief Ghost?
Hey, sale re buile batho.
Okay, 5 minutes. So wrapping up the political talk now. I mean, you worked with DGB for a long time. We know him from the outside. We know the Gladiator that most of us like and enjoy and everything. And then there was that stint, Mufokodi. You get it? And then Hompion is the president now. Sometimes the Gladiator shows up. Sometimes Mufokodi. Okay, you knowing him personally or professionally or whatsoever. Who, what kind of a person is he? Because now for me, dog, I vibe with the Gladiator. I don't want to lie. I wasn't really a fan of the
the Gladiator is a guy full of confidence. He's not intimidated. He's not compromising with his views. That's the Gladiator I know. The Mufokodi one, I've seen Mufokodi from a distance. I can't comment on Mufokodi. But I think I haven't experienced Mufokodi. But I also think Mufokodi suppresses the Gladiator. I think to an extent, Mufokodi nyana I don't want to say pretentious, but it's not. I don't think it's him. But experiencing I think he's more of a gladiator than he is Mufokodi. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Gladiator or with Mufokodi. I get another people who know me to be but petrol bomb. But if you can find me, paying. You would never think so I don't know.
I'd say it's very interesting for the first time ever. Even I mean, I know you personally, we've never really talked about feminism and everything. I would say that when you talk about it, all the calm and everything, you get it. I get to understand a lot, and it was very interesting to listen to you talk about it like that and everything. So one would wonder, as a feminist as you are and as a mother and everything, do you believe in love?
In love. I think maybe people don't believe in love because of their experiences. But not in terms of romantic relationships. I've had both sides, the sour and the sweet. Blind. But so I can't say I don't believe in romantic relationships. But it's something that I believe in. Maybe that's a good thing and that's also a bad thing. Because how sort of even if the person does something wrong, it's going to take a while for you to say this is not right. We are going to try and make excuses for them. So I think we should balance between loving someone else and loving yourself. Because if you love yourself, you are going to lead the boundary. I get this one we can't.
Yeah, something that you had always been very vocal about as well, and it's what you have experienced is body shaming or body whatsoever. What's your journey with that? I mean, also women with an ample figure like you, that always. like there's always that kind of go like this thing is sensitive. Sometimes you wouldn't know if people are playing or if they're for real or whatsoever. Some they would say, you know, they want the ample figure women, it's winter, this and that, blah, 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 blah. How serious it is, like the body shaming thing, and what is your experience?
But kore having milomo tona le mo baneng hela, because even from junior school wa itse gore ma teacher ba ileng gore ke di pervert they would target bana ba ileng gore mebelo ya bone e ka re megolwanenyana wa bona. So go ga teng having a big body go tisetsa dipuo Joey wa bona, even from a very young age. Teachers, batho mo society wherever start sexualizing your body from a very young age. I've experienced that once ka teachera, but ever since that time I've never experienced it again. But whoever making comments about my body, they can't say it to my face, so they didn't matter. Facebook. If you can't say it to me, then you are a coward. Happy, there's absolutely nothing wrong with my body. Why are you making a comment about this same body? You're in a body in 9 degrees at 3, but what are we wrong?
Well, you have 3 degrees.
Hey.
Okay.
What are we wrong? So there's more to life than the structure of our bodies. If it used to make me really uncomfortable, but and I've learned to understand that we live with animals. But out of nowhere. But I'll try body autonomy, or you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't catcall, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. But it doesn't affect me. But the reason why I'm fighting it is because I don't want it to affect the next person who unfortunately can't speak out for themselves.
There are a lot of girls out there by they experience the body shaming. And because of how the society is towards them, they feel certain ways because their bodies. There are a lot of women out there by they want to be vocal, they want to stand and be firm for whatever that they believe in. There are a lot of young people out there, this one I want to marginalize it to gender. There are a lot of young people out there who want to jump into politics. There are a lot of people out there who are going through something and they want to move on with their life and heal and go on and everything. What is your message right now to someone who's in all those circumstances and situations that we mentioned? This is Kim.
If you are a young person or you are an elderly person and you want to join politics, you need to have balls of steel.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to be able to stand up for yourself. You need to be firm in what you believe in. You need to know your story. That's what I can say to a person who wants to join politics. Okay. And modi politicking, you make a name for yourself by making your opinions known to others. Okay. You can't. So, about how join politics because they want to be in the back row. That's absolutely fine. Yeah. And then there's us who'd always want to be in the front lines. If you want to be in the front lines, you need balls of steel. Yeah. And then if you are going through something, there's absolutely nothing, Joey, that the Lord cannot do for you. You know, the Lord has rescued Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from Mullo. Oh, what the So God can rescue you from any situation. He's so don't think it's the end of the world, whether you have a drug problem, you're going through a divorce, you're going through a financial situation. But also, I think show a little bit of effort. Okay? Yeah. If you want to quit drugs, you need to know the environment that brings you back to drugs. True. And unfortunately, you can't keep on going back to that environment. Okay, you need to do something. If you are in financial trouble, Oscar one every weekend own Hennessy, okay? You monate kana yone. So Oscar one every weekend own Hennessy. You need to do something about your life. You need to be proactive. Things don't fall from the sky. It's not manna from heaven. You need to do something about your life.
Yeah, someone who's have maybe issues with the body, either they're being abused or they're being mocked by their body, or
In terms of abuse, gender-based violence. One thing I can say to survivors and victims of gender-based violence is that if we keep quiet, the perpetrators win. If we keep quiet, you're not protecting yourself, because most people don't want to speak out because I don't want to be labeled Resego, the girl who was raped, right? That's why most people just keep quiet. And most people keep quiet because of how we victimize the already victims of gender-based violence. But no matter how painful it is, you need to speak up. Because if one person rises, then so many of us rise as well. Yeah.
Okay, apparently we left with 10 minutes.
Hey,
Let's press up
RJ
a bit.
issue.
A bit. So you mentioned that you have 3 degrees.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, did you?
The political science and public administration, that's my first degree, undergraduate. I get.
Okay.
And then the second one, master's in public administration, but specifically in human resources management.
Oh, okay.
And then the third one, PhD in public administration.
So, okay, PhD.
Doctor of philosophy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, like, what's the whole plan with the education and everything?
You know what I want to
Do you
do?
want to be specially elected one day?
No.
Already.
But if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to beat myself up.
Okay.
What I intend to do, the reason why I got a PhD is because ke batla go nna lecturer, lecturer, because I think if you teach people something, in a way you get to kore o nna o le abreast about the issues. Gona ha ke le kwa lapeng ke tsere degree about 7 years ago. Ke feel hore ha ke fresh sente mo di issue because I am a person who loves to read. So also go ruta ya ke thozi go rutile ka feminism. It's something I'm very passionate about. Even interacting with banana hela, because I kry anu a setse ya ke le 30 yana bonana yana ka re ba kota simula go bidwa botsoga botsama in the next 5 years they will give you adult. So interacting with generations to come, it always makes you evolve, even in your activism, in your opinion, because rona we have been fortunate enough to be generation e ha gare ga ma 74 le ma 2K wa bona ke rona wa bona the bridgeway. So we have both worlds mo go rona. So we get to re kgona go akanya senda rena ma 74 maybe le ha rena ma 2K, it's not that bad. The difference ha e kalokalo. So I think that's also something se ke se enjoy, and that's why ke batla go nna moruta bana.
That's interesting. Who would you say is your role model?
Hey, role models I'm didn't because I do so many things. I'm inspired by so many women. But Winnie Mandela is one of them. But there's another one called Albertina Sisulu. Albertina Sisulu was one of the leaders the Women's March. That happened in 1956 in South Africa.
And she related to Walter Sisulu?
Yeah, she was the wife to Walter Sisulu. But but one her name is Albertina Nontsikelelo Sisulu. People have always known her to be Walter Sisulu's wife. But Nontsikelelo, at some point, she was the deputy president of the ANC Women's League. She was also, I think, Secretary General, if I'm not wrong, of the Federation of South African Women. At some point, she was member of parliament for the ANC, I think in 1999. One of the first few people to nominate President Mandela for president. So beyond being Walter Sisulu's wife, she was actually a leader in her own right.
Okay,
And so was Winnie Mandela. Wabona? So because they were married to batho ba ne ba le politically active and ba le famous, they sort of people wanted to downplay their engagement. And there is a lady also, an African American, her name is Rosa Parks. You know stories about Rosa Parks?
the one who
But
sat
this
on
guy
the
is really guy in 2 minutes. You know what happened with Rosa Parks? I can know segregation go Alabama. I think the state Alabama where she stayed. I think you know they can have the Montgomery I'm not sure of the city. I'm not sure of the name. So the bus system, the transit system was curated in such a way that Kopili, the first 10 seats were reserved for Makhoa. The last 10 seats were reserved for black people. So highly black people have ba tsena ka seat e ko ba tsena ko seating tse di ko morago akere go ha the 10 seats tse di ko morago di tala ba fila di seat tsa ba se like anti clockwise ba tswa ko morago ba ya ko pele makgwa ba di fila ba tswa ko pele ba ya ko morago. So if a black person a white person comes into the bus I tell you have to stand up. So Rosa Parks refused to do that. And unfortunately, so many political commentators at that time wanted to downplay that resistance. Because I think there's one newspaper, I can't remember the name, they said Rosa Parks was seated down because she was tired. That wasn't the case. That was an act of resistance.
Exactly,
and she let them know that I wasn't physically tired. You know, I was emotionally tired from all the segregation and people treating us like we're not human. One thing, never answer to people who call you a spark when you're a fire. That's my last word.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I know the story of Rosa Parks. That's why it's easy when to say Rosa Parks said so Martin Luther could walk. Definitely.
Yeah.
Resego, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Joey.
What's that one thing that you would die for?
My child.
Your child. What's the advice that you've ever received?
What's the advice?
Yeah.
Second location.
It's always a better idea, bro. It's always a better idea.
That's the worst advice.
Yeah, best advice that you've ever received?
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
The world is harsh. You are a flower, but even through the harsh conditions, you will blossom. Yeah.
Best motivator? Or best motivating quote or best motivator in general?
I live by the book of Isaiah in chapter 22. The Bible says, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. So I'm a firm believer in that things don't happen to me. They happen for me. This thing. It was his intention to do that. That's why I'm always at peace with the decisions I've previously made, politically, financially. God is trying to teach you some sort of lesson from that, and you need to learn it, and your life will move on. Yeah.
That's actually chapter 20, verse 22. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, chapter 60, verse 22. Yeah, chapter 60, verse 22.
Chapter 60, verse 22.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Resego. Thank you so much for this, man. It's been beautiful. Future, would we see you back go the Prato video thing, Freedom Square, ever? Or
I think maybe as a retirement plan, not now.
Oh, not now.
Politically, I can make my comments, but I don't think you'll see me wear a party T-shirt anytime soon. Yeah.
Interesting. You know, the petrol bomb is still there. I think. What do you think, Morata? Is the petrol bomb still there?
She's just suppressing it.
Oh, she's just.
Bomb is not working.
Oh, so Lena, she's one the Mofokuditi. Yeah, she's Mofokudi now.
I think one day she just woke up and be like, you know what, just go to the people. Petrol bomb, go to bed.
Oh yeah.
Kati ke o sa mpotse gore ke ratile guest he o na realize.
Oh yeah. Favorite guest on. Wait, do you love Overview? Do
Yeah,
you
I watch
Overview?
like religiously.
Oh yeah, interesting.
But guest day ke nna e ke e ratang tota ka Plymouth ke o ska bora
Oh,
teacher.
Legend. That's a legend right there, bro. That's a legend.
Ke
right
gona go
there.
boela episode ya gagwe ke batla go muta
Yeah.
se gore a re tswetswe siragetse ke eng.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
very funny guy actually.
Yeah, yeah, which joke from Oscar over a teacher? Like one?
I think go na le a kileng a bua gore ka nna re tswetswe e sirileng o kgona gore a re wa reverse be se letsa utara.
So I reverse. Yeah, man, that's a legend right there, man. He's always here. Teachers' Day. That's his episode. Teachers'
Eh,
Day.
no, ke Teachers'
Like
Day,
he'll
yeah,
be
proper
back next
thought.
Teachers' Day and everything. Guys, remember that we're shooting this episode from. Hey, I'm putting a side card. Remember that we're shooting this episode from the Content Center. Guys, this is where you create your music. This is where you create. If you want to be a podcaster, guys, everything is here now. It's available now. Contact the contact center. Check them out online at the Contact Center Africa, right?
Content.
There's no there.
No, not but what we call it contact. Content.
Oh, okay.
Content.
Like the Content Center. BW content isn't for content creator. You get it? But I think everyone there. Yo guys, now I'm not a content creator, I'm a podcaster. Okay. Yeah. Check out the Content Center online and everything. Come create music. And remember, this episode is probably brought to you by Kanako, Kanako Equipment, the best and most reliable equipment supplier or store. Check them out on the socials whenever you want to buy something, whatever equipment, man, bakery equipment, butchery equipment, catering equipment, everything, agri equipment. Just check out Kanako Equipment and then they will sort you out. Are we done? Yeah. Right. Rusero, thank you so much, man. Petrol bomb. Overview radio, Overview podcast. Oh, okay. Yeah, Overview podcast, guys. Vrrr. Pa. We are.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.